Every day, we eat foods that quietly sabotage our health, foods that look harmless but are silently triggering inflammation, damaging our organs, and disrupting our metabolism. You might feel fine now, but beneath the surface, your body is struggling to cope with sugars, processed snacks, fried meals, and chemical additives. What if I told you that some of the foods you consume every single day could be accelerating heart disease, insulin resistance, and chronic inflammation without any warning signs? Today, we're uncovering the hidden dangers in your diet, showing you exactly which foods to stop and why your body will thank you for it. We live in a world where the foods we consume can either act as powerful allies or silent enemies to our health. Every day, we make choices that seem harmless, even convenient, but hidden beneath the surface are ingredients and compounds that may be quietly sabotaging our bodies. Understanding which foods are truly harmful requires more than just reading labels or following trends. It requires looking at how they interact with our biology at a cellular and systemic level. Some foods that are marketed as everyday staples can trigger inflammation, disrupt metabolism, impair the immune system, and even damage critical organs over time. The danger is often subtle, unfolding silently until the cumulative effect manifests as chronic disease, fatigue, or unexpected health crisis. Recognizing the foods that fall into this category is not about fear or restriction. It is about empower yourself with knowledge so that each meal becomes a tool for health rather than a hidden threat. Modern dietary habits have shifted dramatically from the foods our ancestors relied upon. Highly processed snacks, sugary beverages, and convenience meals dominate the market, often containing additives, preservatives, and refined sugars that overwhelm the body's natural defenses. These foods can provoke chronic inflammation, a hidden driver behind conditions like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers. Our bodies are equipped with sophisticated systems to regulate energy, repair tissues, and fight off disease. But they are not designed to process high amounts of chemical-laden industrially manufactured food. Over time, these repeated exposures can weaken vital systems, compromise gut health, and alter hormonal balance, creating a domino effect of long-term consequences that most people never see coming. But the impact is not limited to processed items. Even seemingly normal foods consumed in excess or without awareness can trigger similar biological disruptions. High-sodium foods, certain fried items, and sugar-laden beverages may be part of everyday diets, yet they act as slow-burning accelerators of vascular damage, insulin resistance, and weight gain. Each bite can subtly influence the intricate balance of our microbiome, interfere with cellular repair mechanisms, and prime the body for disease. It is not just what we eat, but how these foods interact with our metabolism, blood vessels, immune system, and even brain chemistry that determines their effect. Understanding the science behind these foods transforms how we approach eating. Knowledge of which items are silently harmful allows for proactive decision-making, replacing harmful habits with nourishing, life-promoting alternatives that restore balance, enhance immunity, and support the body's natural healing pathways. The goal is not restriction for the sake of discipline, but insight for the sake of longevity, vitality, and resilience. By recognizing the foods that may be undermining our health, we gain the ability to make choices that align with how our bodies are designed to function, choices that can prevent disease, reduce inflammation, and ultimately preserve quality of life. Some everyday foods can silently trigger inflammation, disrupt metabolism, and harm vital organs in ways that most people don't realize. Our modern diets are filled with items that seem harmless or convenient, yet the chemical makeup of these foods can interfere with the body's natural processes at a cellular level. Inflammation, for example, is the body's natural response to injury or infection, a mechanism designed to protect and repair. However, when inflammation is constantly activated by certain foods, it shifts from a protective response to a chronic state that damages tissues and organs over time. Chronic inflammation has been linked to a wide range of health conditions, including heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even neurodegenerative disorders. And yet the foods that provoke this reaction are often staples in everyday diets. Metabolism is another system that can be silently affected by the foods we consume. The body's metabolic pathways rely on a delicate balance of hormones, enzymes, and nutrients to convert food into energy efficiently. When we eat foods high in refined sugars, trans fats, or artificial additives, these pathways can become impaired. Blood sugar spikes and crashes, insulin resistance, and fat accumulation all potential outcomes of repeated exposure to these dietary stressors. Over time, what may seem like occasional indulgence can lead to systemic metabolic dysfunction, making it more difficult for the body to regulate weight, energy levels, and overall biochemical balance. Vital organs, including the liver, kidneys, and heart, are particularly vulnerable to the effects of harmful foods. The liver, for instance, is responsible for detoxifying chemicals, metabolizing nutrients, and regulating blood sugar. Consistently overloading it with processed foods, high-fat items, or excessive sugars can lead to fat buildup, inflammation, and impaired function. Similarly, the kidneys filter waste from the blood, and diets high in sodium, preservatives, and artificial sweeteners can increase their workload, potentially contributing to long-term damage. The heart is also directly affected as inflammatory compounds and excessive processed fats can stiffen arteries, elevate blood pressure, and reduce overall cardiovascular efficiency. What makes these effects so insidious is that they often occur without immediate symptoms. Unlike an acute illness that triggers noticeable discomfort, the damage from these everyday foods accumulates gradually. People may feel fine while their bodies are undergoing subtle but continuous stress, which can eventually manifest as chronic disease, fatigue, or sudden health crisis. The silent nature of these effects underscores the importance of awareness and proactive choices. Understanding the connection between what we eat and how our bodies respond requires looking beyond calories or macronutrients. It involves recognizing how specific compounds interact with cellular signaling, hormonal balance, and immune function. For example, certain additives can promote oxidative stress, leading to cell damage, while refined carbohydrates can stimulate inflammatory pathways. Even foods that are widely accepted as normal or harmless may carry hidden risks when consumed excessively or in combination with other dietary stressors. By examining the ways in which everyday foods can disrupt the body, it becomes clear that diet is not just about nutrition or pleasure. It is a form of medicine, a tool that can either support or undermine our health. Making informed choices allows the body to operate at its best, reducing unnecessary stress on vital organs, supporting metabolic balance, and preventing chronic inflammation from taking hold. Highly processed snacks, sugary drinks, and convenience meals overwhelm the body's natural defenses in ways that most people never realize. These foods are engineered for taste, shelf life, and convenience, but in the process, they are stripped of the nutrients, fiber, and bioactive compounds that the body needs to function optimally. Each bite introduces a combination of refined sugars, unhealthy fats, artificial flavors, preservatives, and chemical additives that the body must work hard to metabolize and neutralize. Over time, this constant exposure creates a cumulative burden on the immune system, liver, and digestive tract, leaving the body less capable of responding to stress, infection, or injury. Sugary drinks, in particular, have a profound impact. When consumed, they trigger rapid spikes in blood glucose and insulin, which the body must then counteract to maintain balance. Repeated spikes can lead to insulin resistance, a key factor in the development of type 2 diabetes, weight gain, and systemic inflammation. The liver, responsible for metabolizing sugar into usable energy, becomes overworked, storing excess glucose as fat and potentially contributing to fatty liver disease. At the same time, sugary beverages often displace nutrient-rich foods from the diet, further limiting the body's access to essential vitamins and minerals that support immune function and overall health. Highly processed snacks, such as chips, cookies, and packaged baked goods, pose a similar challenge. These items are often high in trans fats and refined carbohydrates, which can trigger inflammatory pathways, impair cholesterol metabolism, and disrupt hormone balance. The additives and preservatives used to extend shelf life are foreign compounds that the body must detoxify, adding additional strain to the liver and kidneys. Moreover, these foods are designed to be hyperpalatable, encouraging overconsumption and bypassing the body's natural hunger and satiety signals. This not only leads to excess caloric intake, but also alters the way the brain perceives reward, potentially creating a cycle of cravings and dependence. Convenience meals, such as frozen dinners, fast food, and instant noodles, are deceptively harmful. They may appear to provide a quick and balanced solution to a busy schedule, but many are high in sodium, refined starches, and industrial oils. Excess sodium increases blood pressure and places additional strain on the cardiovascular system, while processed oils introduce unstable fats, that can oxidize and damage cell membranes. These meals often lack the antioxidants, fiber, and micronutrients that help protect cells from oxidative stress, maintain the integrity of the gut microbiome, which is essential for digestion, immunity, and even mental health. The cumulative effect of regularly consuming processed snacks, sugary drinks, and convenience meals is a slow, invisible burden on the body's defenses. The immune system may become less effective at fighting infections, inflammation can simmer unnoticed, and organs such as the liver and kidneys gradually accumulate stress and damage. While the consequences may not be immediately apparent over months and years, the body's resilience diminishes, setting the stage for chronic disease, metabolic dysfunction, and premature aging. Understanding the impact of these everyday dietary choices reveals why relying on convenience foods, even occasionally, carries hidden costs. By recognizing the ways in which these items overwhelm the body's natural defenses, it becomes possible to make intentional changes, prioritizing foods that support metabolic balance, immune function, and overall vitality. Even common foods like high-sodium items, fried foods, and sugar-laden beverages can accelerate vascular damage, insulin resistance, and overall metabolic dysfunction, often without people realizing the silent toll they take on the body. These foods may be widely accepted as part of a normal diet, yet they act as hidden stressors that gradually compromise the body's critical systems. High sodium intake, for instance, directly affects the cardiovascular system. When consumed in excess, sodium increases blood pressure by causing the body to retain water, forcing the heart and blood vessels to work harder to circulate blood. Over time, this elevated strain damages the delicate lining of arteries, promotes stiffness in vascular walls, and accelerates the progression of heart disease, even in individuals who appear outwardly healthy. Fried foods introduce a different type of risk. Cooking oils exposed to high heat produce oxidized fats, trans fats, and advanced glycation end products, all of which can provoke inflammatory responses in the body. These compounds are absorbed into the bloodstream and deposited in tissues where they interfere with normal cellular function, trigger oxidative stress, and contribute to arterial plaque formation. The liver, tasked with metabolizing fats, is forced to process these unstable molecules, increasing its workload and sometimes leading to fat accumulation in hepatic tissue. Repeated consumption of fried foods, particularly when combined with a sedentary lifestyle, establishes a pattern of metabolic disruption that increases the risk of obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. Sugar-laden beverages, including sodas, sweetened teas, and energy drinks, have a similar impact on metabolic health. When consumed, they cause rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin levels, prompting the pancreas to overcompensate and the body to store excess glucose as fat. Over time, these repeated cycles of hyperglycemia and insulin release can desensitize insulin receptors, creating a state known as insulin resistance. Insulin resistance not only elevates the risk of diabetes, but also contributes to chronic inflammation, weight gain, and cardiovascular complications. Moreover, sugary drinks provide almost no nutrients, displacing foods that supply fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients that help regulate blood sugar and protect the vascular system from oxidative damage. These commonly consumed foods also influence the microbiome, the complex ecosystem of microorganisms in the gut that plays a critical role in digestion, immunity, and systemic inflammation. Diets high in sodium, fried foods, and sugars can alter the composition and diversity of gut bacteria, reducing beneficial strains and promoting harmful ones. This imbalance weakens the body's natural defenses, triggers low-grade inflammation, and disrupts metabolic signaling pathways. Over time, these changes create a feedback loop, further impairing insulin sensitivity, energy balance, and cardiovascular health. What makes these effects particularly insidious is their gradual and cumulative nature. Unlike acute toxins or immediate reactions, the damage caused by high-sodium foods, fried items, and sugar-laden beverages occurs subtly, often without noticeable symptoms. A person may feel energetic in the moment, while their arteries stiffen, insulin sensitivity declines, and inflammation simmers quietly at the cellular level. This silent progression emphasizes the importance of recognizing the long-term consequences of everyday dietary habits and understanding how even seemingly ordinary foods can become agents of disease when consumed habitually. By appreciating the hidden risks associated with these common foods, it becomes clear that health is influenced not just by what we avoid, but by how frequently and in what combination we consume them. Choosing to limit high sodium, fried, and sugary items can reduce stress on the cardiovascular system, support metabolic function, and protect the body from silent but serious damage over time. Harmful foods subtly affect the microbiome, cellular repair, and overall immune function in ways that most people do not notice. The microbiome, a vast ecosystem of trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms residing in the gut, is central to nearly every aspect of human health. It aids in digestion, regulates immune responses, synthesizes essential vitamins, and even communicates with the brain through the gut-brain axis. When the foods we eat disrupt this delicate balance, they set off a cascade of effects that ripple throughout the body. Diets high in processed sugars, refined carbohydrates, artificial additives, and unhealthy fats create an environment in the gut that favors harmful bacteria over beneficial strains. This imbalance, known as dysbiosis, is linked to chronic inflammation, impaired nutrient absorption, and weakened immunity, making the body more vulnerable to infections, autoimmune conditions, and even metabolic disorders. Cellular repair mechanisms are also compromised by the continuous consumption of harmful foods. Every day, our cells undergo damage from environmental stressors, oxidative molecules, and normal metabolic processes. Under ideal conditions, the body efficiently repairs or replaces the damaged cells, maintaining tissue integrity and organ function. However, diets high in oxidized fats, processed foods, and sugar overload generate excessive oxidative stress, which overwhelms the body's natural repair systems. Oxidative stress damages DNA, proteins, and cellular membranes, impairing normal function and triggering inflammatory responses. Over time, this accumulated cellular damage can accelerate aging, reduce organ efficiency, and increase the risk of chronic diseases such as cancer, cardiovascular conditions, and neurodegenerative disorders. Immune function is another system intricately affected by dietary choices. The immune system relies on a finely tuned network of cells, signaling molecules, and microbial interactions to recognize and eliminate threats. When the gut microbiome is disrupted, it alters immune signaling, leading to inappropriate responses that can manifest as chronic low-grade inflammation or autoimmune reactions. High-sugar diets, for example, have been shown to impair white blood cell activity, reducing the body's ability to fight off infections. Processed and fried foods contribute to pro-inflammatory signaling, keeping the immune system in a constant state of activation that eventually wears it down. Even subtle shifts in nutrient availability, such as deficiencies in vitamins A, C, D, and zinc due to poor dietary choices, can compromise immune defense and reduce the body's resilience to illness. The interplay between the microbiome, cellular repair, and immune function highlights how deeply interconnected our body systems are and how harmful foods can create a ripple effect that touches every aspect of health. A single dietary choice does not just affect digestion or blood sugar, it can influence inflammation levels, hormonal balance, energy metabolism, and cognitive function. What is particularly concerning is that many of these changes occur silently with no immediate warning signs while the body adapts to the stressors placed upon it. Understanding these mechanisms emphasizes the importance of deliberate food choices, supporting a healthy microbiome with fiber-rich, nutrient-dense foods, reducing oxidative stress through antioxidants, and maintaining immune resilience are critical strategies to counteract the subtle damage caused by harmful foods. The foods we consume daily can either undermine these essential systems or strengthen them, shaping long-term health outcomes and influencing the body's capacity to repair, defend, and thrive. Replacing harmful foods with nourishing alternatives supports longevity, vitality, and disease prevention by providing the body with the essential nutrients it needs to function optimally. While many people focus on avoiding unhealthy items, the proactive inclusion of nutrient-dense foods can be even more transformative, supplying vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and bioactive compounds that strengthen the body's natural defenses. These foods not only reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, but also enhance cellular repair, support metabolic balance, and maintain the integrity of critical organs. By shifting dietary patterns toward whole, minimally processed options, the body gains the tools it needs to recover from daily stressors, fight infections, and reduce the risk of chronic disease. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds provide an abundance of antioxidants, phytochemicals, and fiber, which work together to counteract the harmful effects of processed foods and excess sugar. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and preventing cellular damage, while fiber supports gut health, promotes healthy digestion, and stabilizes blood sugar levels. These foods also help regulate cholesterol, blood pressure, and hormonal balance, ensuring that metabolic processes operate efficiently. Each meal becomes an opportunity to nourish the body at a molecular level, providing the raw materials for energy production, detoxification, and tissue repair. In addition to supporting metabolic and cellular health, nutrient-dense foods enhance immune function. Vitamins such as C, D, and A, along with minerals like zinc and selenium, play a crucial role in maintaining immune cell activity and ensuring an appropriate response to pathogens. Polyphenols and other plant compounds further modulate immune signaling, reducing chronic inflammation while strengthening the body's ability to defend against infection. By replacing processed snacks and sugary beverages with these foods, the immune system can operate more efficiently, improving resilience and recovery from illness. Vital organs such as the heart, liver, and kidneys benefit directly from a diet focused on nourishment rather than harm. Healthy fats, such as those found in avocados, olive oil, and fatty fish, support cardiovascular function by reducing arterial stiffness and improving cholesterol profiles. The liver, responsible for detoxification and metabolic regulation, thrives on whole foods rich in antioxidants, amino acids, and phytonutrients, which enhance its ability to filter toxins and metabolize nutrients effectively. The kidneys are relieved from excessive sodium and chemical stressors, allowing them to maintain fluid and electrolyte balance more efficiently. Over time, these dietary choices create a foundation for long-term organ health, reducing the risk of chronic disease and functional decline. Beyond the physiological benefits, adopting a diet rich in nourishing foods has a profound impact on energy levels, mental clarity, and overall vitality. Stable blood sugar, reduced inflammation, and optimized gut function contribute to sustained energy throughout the day, improved cognitive performance, and a greater sense of well-being. Habits that prioritize nutrient-dense foods also encourage mindful eating, helping individuals become more attuned to their body's signals of hunger, satiety, and satisfaction. By understanding the connection between nutrition and health, it becomes clear that replacing harmful foods with nourishing alternatives is not merely a lifestyle choice, it is a strategy for resilience, longevity, and vitality. Each deliberate choice shapes the body's ability to repair, defend, and thrive, laying the groundwork for a healthier future.